It's a fine overreaction Monday. And it's a perfect day to have overreactions after the Friday, Saturday we had with the laughable trade rumors from the Philadelphia Eagles. What's going on with the Philadelphia Phillies? How did their weekend go? Did they win the series? Did they look good? Did they look bad? We're going to talk about it because there was some good and there was some bad. Anyway, WrestleMania is over. It is NFL draft week, guys. All the weeks and weeks and weeks of preparation culminate this week with the NFL draft, guys. Trend in the AM. We're taking your thoughts and opinions on the entire weekend live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube and Twitter. Guys, please do the YMCA. Please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. Please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly, greatly appreciate it. We are at 500 subscribers. We finally got there, guys. Finally got to the first 500. Now it's time to push even double hard, and let's get to 1,000. So, guys, we do that by everybody hitting that like button, everybody hitting that share button, and please subscribing. We got lots to talk about today. Since we were last live last Friday, we have had some comical trade rumors floating around the media with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm here to debunk them, but also laugh at them and laugh at the people that actually believe the people that say these things. Laugh at the people that say these things and get paid big money to say these kind of stupid things. We're going to laugh all about them. And then we're going to talk to Philadelphia Phillies, who won a 3-game series against the Marlins this weekend in good and bad fashion. We're going to talk about the bullpen. We're going to talk about center field. We're going to talk about all the issues surrounding the Phillies and how good or not good they are. But let's just dive right into it. But, guys, again, like, share, subscribe. You can also drop your thoughts on WrestleMania. I thought it was pathetic for the most part, but, you know, I'd love to hear some thoughts on anybody that watched it. Anything else you want to talk about, that's what we're here for. Nooms with the comment late last night, laughable bullpen has been since October. The Phillies definitely have a bullpen issue. Good morning, Adam. Yes, 500 down. 500 to go for the next goal, my man. That's right, 500. That's right. Let's go. Super Chats will be turned on as soon as they get activated. I submitted to it. Phillies bullpen is a wreck. Booch. The Booch is loose. Hope you had a great Easter, Joe Bucci. Question is, what do you do with the bullpen? Is it too soon to make a big trade? Is it not too soon? Does Dave Dombrowski need to be called out for letting our bullpen be this bad? Jeff Hoffman, Carlos Estevez, both looking pretty damn good this season. When are we going to start criticizing Dave Dombrowski? Good morning, Little G. How you doing this morning? Hope you are well. Good morning, Duck. Hope you had a great weekend. And I believe in Joe Hendry. I loved it. That was the only shock all weekend. Only shock. I was expecting The Miz to answer the challenge, since he hadn't been on a WrestleMania card in almost 20 years. But it was Joe Hendry. That was pretty cool. Huge opportunity for him. I'll take overrated baseball teams looking gift horses in the mouth for 200, Alex. Yes, well, you should have said 200, Philip. I'm not Alex. My name's Philip. Phillies got a bullpen issue. Plain and simple. Whoever's reported A.J. Brown to another team has been off of antipsychotics too long. Yeah. Look, you know what's funny about these crazy A.J. Brown rumors is the fact that Howie, in the right situation, actually wouldn't be afraid to trade A.J. Brown if it was necessary. If we had such a glaring need or hole, if the cap hit wasn't crazy, Howie is just psycho enough to actually do a move of A.J. Brown, in theory. But in theory now, with the dead cap hit if you trade him, with the fact that you're a Super Bowl champion team, with a team that, you know, is near perfect, why would you do that? Like the fact that Joe Giglio gets paid how much money, and whoever the Patriots reporters are get paid big money. And this is the stuff they spew. And fans actually believe it. I saw people on social media calling for Howie Roseman's job for even contemplating this idea. Like they have no clue. This is not a real report. This is a made-up rumor for clicks. And I don't get it. I don't get it. That's right. It's Y. It's M. It's CA. That's all you got to do. Phil, we predicted Rollins Heyman, even though it's redundant. Yeah, to me, it doesn't make sense. I think there's a lot of not making sense things this week. And I watched most of it, WrestleMania-wise, but I think it was pretty weak. Can we take a few seconds to pray for I thought I saw something, but I never fact-checked it to see if it's true. Yes, I do think I heard something that the Pope did pass away. He'd been sick for a little while now. I think this is all spike, but hold on, no. Duck wants a moment of silence, so we'll do that. Because, yeah. And if you haven't watched Conclave and you're interested in learning about the process of picking the next Pope, go watch Conclave. It's a great movie, actually. I think this is all Spike. Spike is a... See, the thing is, so first off, I don't think Spike was the first one. I think it was a New England reporters that were the first to start breaking that down or start reporting it. Spike and Joe Giglio or Joe Jiggy, get jiggy with it, were the ones that were running with it on WIP. The thing is, like I said, I don't think it's like if we didn't have Jalen Carter, we had lost in the division round, and we had this glaring need on the defensive line. Sure, Howie would actually have the balls to pull off a shocker like that. Howie's not afraid to pull off shockers. He's done it before. But he's not doing it here. He's not doing it after winning a Super Bowl. He's not doing it when this Eagles team literally has no glaring massive hole. It's insane. Why would Howie trade AJ for a rookie and dead cap hit of $1 billion? Because why wouldn't he? Because it fits a narrative on TV or on the radio. It fits a narrative to garner attention. Because there's enough casual fans that actually believe when someone on the radio says something, it's true. That's what it is. It's people believe what they read. Look, I made a joke on Twitter this weekend, Marshawn, after this all happened. I said my sources called me and said the Eagles are trading Jalen Hurts and Jalen Carter to move up to pick 4 to get Shedeur Sanders. And 98% of the people that read that tweet knew I was joking. Because I put at the bottom, ... Is this how it's done? But there are 2 or 3 people that saw it and commented, holy shit, what are your sources saying about this? Because they just see a casual person with a following and assume it's real. And it's crazy. WrestleMania ended early last night. That's how bad it was. It did end early. Like, I kept waiting for something to happen there. How do you do all that and The Rock doesn't appear? That's crazy to me. How is there no real outside shenanigans in that mess last night? It's crazy. All I know is the start last night, the women's triple threat match and the IC 4-way were great matches, for sure. Night 1's main event was better than Night 2's, though. Spike has taken the worst part of his father's reporting style and made it a career. And you know what? Good for him making a career out of it, I guess. The problem is, other people like me get offended by how he goes about doing his business. It does bother us. We're insane people. Yeah. That's what I guess you have to be insane. Problem is, there are good people that work at WIP. There are some good hosts at WIP. WIP, WrestleMania is pathetic. It was boring this weekend. It was. All it takes is one dude. That's all it takes. That's true. What's up, Vince? How you doing? To be fair, Howard said that A.J. Brown's name has come up and then followed, but by saying all players' names come up at this time of year. Yeah, look. Yeah, here's a funny thing. And I'm just joking about it, but I'm not. Like, Howie's nature. Howie himself said in his presser last week, my nature, my DNA is made up with being aggressive. So if the Eagles had not just won a Super Bowl and had a major, major need at a position, I wouldn't be shocked if Howie would trade a superstar, an A.J. Brown, a Devonta Smith, because there have been Devonta Smith rumors floating around as well, fighting nitwits out there for Jalen Ramsey. If there was a serious need that Howie thought would put us over the top, Howie would for sure make a move. But there's not. And he's not. That's the problem. You're absolutely right. How the hell does The Rock not appear? But since Travis Scott, who bought, I don't know. Marshawn. Very underwhelming weekend. Very underwhelming weekend for wrestling. But whatever. We can move on. Because honestly, I barely watched leading up to it. So, it was one of those things where I watched it because I watched it. Because it was on. What else was I going to watch last night and Saturday night? But in theory, now I have every excuse not to tune in for the next year. WIP, we're ignorant people. Pretty much. Most of them. See, that's the thing. There are good people there, just not the top people. The point Spike and Giglio made was that they are shredding cash, and this would be a way to do it. You would also they fail to realize and comment on the fact that they would have to take a $30 million dead cap hit for trading A.J. Brown. They fail to mention that would create a huge hole. You do not trade, you not even suggest trading a top player like that. You're not trading. The rumors are like A.J. Brown and multiple picks to move up to 4. So you're not doing that with A.J. Brown because of the. So, yeah, you might shed cash. And, yes, the Eagles are shedding cash. We've seen that. They have made the tough decisions. So that's fine if you want to cover and discuss the Eagles have to find ways to free up money. And I don't know if it was Giglio or Spike talking about trading a player 2 years early versus 2 years late. And I get that theory as well. But the Eagles are trying to repeat as Super Bowl champions. The Eagles are not doing anything in any scenario where they would trade A.J. Brown. They just wouldn't. They would not trade. So in the last week, we've heard A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith trade rumors. Now, I get it. We got the greatest running back in football right now in Saquon Barkley. But you're not taking away either of Jalen Hurts' big weapon. It's just not happening. Yeah, I've read it off and on. You always think and dangle that The Rock is always trying to tease this and tease that and play the fans. I think the most exciting, funny thing from WrestleMania last night was Stone Cold Steve Austin drunk driving last night. Literally rides his ATV out to the thing, runs it around the ring, and crashes into the barricade, knocking a lady over. It was luckily the lady was okay, but I bet you there's a lawsuit on that coming up soon. How is shedding cash in a smart way that are going to with 1-year contracts so that the money will be there? Exactly. How he's not shedding cash by trading A.J. Brown. Everyone keeps saying A.J. Brown is a top 5 wide receiver. I argue that he's a top 3 wide receiver. It's Justin Jefferson, it's him, and it's Jamar Chase. And you could put them in any order, and I would say fine. I wouldn't put anybody else other than those two ahead of A.J. Brown at this point. He totally. It was like when Batista flopped in that one. I don't know how to describe it other than when Batista flopped on that ring situation years ago. It's basically what she did. She got hit. She froze. She looked around. Oh, the camera's here. Boom. Flopped back. That was a riot. That's right. We've hit 500 subscribers. So all those people watching on Twitter right now, head on to the YouTube page, hit subscribe, like, share. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. 500 down. Can we get to now? How long do we take to get to 1,000? Can we get to 1,000 by kickoff of Week 1 for the Eagles? That's my goal. 1,000 by the start of the NFL season. That's my goal. We'll see if we can get there or not. But it takes everybody hitting like, share, subscribe. I don't think it's an argument worth having when AJ was the one doing the silencer in the end zone in February. Look, I love the A.J. Brown troll. The A.J. Brown is turning into a little bit, or maybe he's always been, and I just never noticed it, little Joel Embiid-ish with the video of him pulling out a number 11 Patriots jersey, then turning around and showing it was a Julian Edelman jersey and then laughing, telling people just to relax. Like that to me was pretty comical. Smitty is such an underrated here, and we love him. He's a wide receiver 1, top 5 wide receiver on most teams in this league. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Devonta Smith is massively underrated. Massively underrated. So, yeah, he's the second wide receiver here. But, dude, he's a top 10 wide receiver in football easily. You always have to take what they say on WIP with a grain of salt. They have 20 hours of radio to fill. Even John Marks on his YouTube says that he would have to take the opposite. I get it. But I don't think – actually, I disagree. I get what you're saying, but I disagree with it. Yeah, you got 20 hours to fill. Absolutely agree. Absolutely. But they don't have to go crazy because when they spew nonsense, like the Eagles are talking about, they're not saying the Eagles could or would contemplate it. They're saying that there's rumors, that there's sources out there saying that this is being discussed. You're scaring the casual fans. They need to engage their fans. They need to listen. They need to debate their fans. They need to give out fair and concise information. In any of those kinds, now I don't listen to them anymore. So maybe I'm wrong here, Vince. And maybe they went on to do this. Okay? And I'm sorry if I'm offending you by ripping into the WIP people. If they followed up these comments and these parts got clipped out with, it's a good idea for XYZ, but it's not going to happen because of the dead cap hit, at least they'd be educating their listeners. As long as they educate with their bad takes, then I don't have an issue. They need AJ more than ever this year. Yeah, I would argue that. I would agree to that argument. There's going to be a much different game plan with the Eagles this year. It's going to have to be. Teams saw how the Chiefs stopped Saquon Barkley in the Super Bowl. Teams are going to follow that. This upcoming season will be more about Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and the passing game. You probably won't have Dallas Goedert out there. You'll have somebody else at tight end. You'll have a new right guard. It's all going to be about the passing game. I mean, they'll still feature Saquon Barkley. They will still run the ball as their identity says. But I think teams now have a blueprint on how to stop it. So you're going to need Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown to connect a little bit more often. I love A.J. trolling us with the signed Edelman jersey. He's such a football nerd that he was so happy to get. Absolutely. When I saw that video, I laughed my ass off. I did. I loved it. I knew instantly what it was going to be, too. I knew it. So it was great. It was very Joel Embiid-esque. The difference is A.J. Brown showing up in the big moments. Joel Embiid hasn't. Yeah, there's a dig at Joel. Howie wouldn't be doing his job if he weren't listening and discussing. Howie, by nature, is an aggressive person. Howie will listen to everything and everyone. Howie is also not stupid. Howie is also not going to make a dumb move. With the high usage of Barkley, and they will make Hurts throw more than ever. Absolutely agree. I think there will be a much different offense next year. Much different. They're going to know how to stop Barkley. They're going to want to be careful with his usage. You might see less tush push or no tush push. So you're going to see much more Jalen Hurts throwing the ball in 2025. WIP thrives off omitting key facts almost every 10 seconds. Yeah. And that's the thing. Look, Vince is standing up for them, and I get it. There's a lot of people that love WIP still. Personally, I don't. Everybody is not Spags. What's up, Mike? Yeah, actually, that's a great point. I say the Chiefs gave us a blueprint, or gave the league a blueprint on stopping Saquon Barkley. But still, not everybody's big game Spags, right? You know, but as much as big game Spags stopped Saquon Barkley, his defense also gave up 40 points. So take that as you will, too. If Harmon, Nolan, or the name I don't want drafted because I can't pronounce it, are there at 32, you got to draft one of them. Any of those three guys will be instant contributors. I still stand by. Chip a tooth. Live chipping of a tooth right on TV. I foresee if Nolan or Harmon start to fall to a certain level, Rick, I actually think they would trade up to grab Harmon or Nolan. Again, Howie likes to be aggressive. Howie has said it's in his nature to be aggressive. So Howie will not be afraid to trade up to get whichever guy he absolutely wants. I think I would say Harmon, Nolan, or even James Pierce you could throw into that conversation. Could be candidates to trade up for. That first round pick is not. I highly doubt he trades out. Today, Monday, I'm feeling it's a trade up. Most likely, a very slight chance of a stay pat. Very little chance of a trade out. Howie's got his eye on somebody, whether it's any of these names or somebody else. Still holding out hope for a safety, Malachi Starks, but that's just me. Hurts MVP season incoming, absolutely. I don't know if I've bet it yet, but if I haven't, I will soon. Hurts is going to continue to shut the doubters up, Big Al. We gave the league a blueprint on the tush push, and they still can't do it. That's true. That's true. That is very true. That's why an offensive lineman's still in the cards in the first round, too. Continuing to build that offensive line. We've given the league a blueprint on how to build a championship football team year in and year out. And teams still can't figure out what the Eagles do. They can't. Defensive tackle more than likely will be the pick unless Pierce or Easy are available. Most likely. Yes, most likely. I still personally would go in a different direction, but that's just me. I think you could get a defensive tackle in the second, third round, for sure. I still think safety's a much bigger need than people realize. They won't pick Starks. He scored too low on the RAS. I didn't think his score was that bad, but or maybe it just wasn't posted the last time I looked on this. Yeah, it's 5.29. That is pretty low, and they do like to draft guys early that have nine pluses. I don't know how I didn't know his score was so low, but still, they did bring him in for a top 30 visit. So the other thing you got to take into account is how he does draft guys. His first 3 picks, the last 2 drafts, all had top 30 visits. 9 of his last 16 picks all had top 30 visits. Every first-round pick since 2017 or 18, except for the COVID year, were top 30 visits. So remember the top 30 visit aspect just as much as the RAS score information. Charles Grant from William Mary could be a late day 2, early day 3 pick. A lot of people are hyping him up. And when people hype up a guy, and when he gets top 30 visits, I tend to do my research. Charles Grant is one of those guys. Yeah, Dillard was also. So there's 2 of like the last 7 or 2 of the last like 9. So 7 of the last 9 were top 30 visits for the first round picks. But yes, Dillard and Devonta Smith were not. Teams may try to run more in an attempt to get DeJean off the field. Not sure it'd be effective or if he just won't be moved in the chessboard. Run to get Cooper DeJean off the team? I don't think so. I think Cooper DeJean stays on the field against the run. I think that's something. I think in a scenario where you're going to a 2-base defense cornerback-wise, then you take Keely Ringo off the field and you leave DeJean out there on the outside. I think DeJean will be on the field for every single play, just like Quinion Mitchell in 2025. We spanked the Chiefs. Now everybody think they could have done the same. Exactly. Oh, come on, Mike. Right. I got you. Everyone outside of Philly making excuses why we won because we had nothing to do with winning. It was the other teams that let us win. Nobody gives credit to the Eagles. Hell, half of Philadelphia don't give credit to the Eagles, Mike. What do you want? Everybody hates us, and we do care. Everyone says everybody hates us, and we don't care. I say everybody hates us, and I do care because I want people to like us. I want us to get the respect we deserve. That's what I want. I want the Eagles. I want Philadelphia sports. I want Philadelphia fans to get the respect they deserve. Both DeJean and Ringo not afraid to mix it up with the run game. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're weak at safety, which I still think the Eagles are weak at safety. DeJean and Ringo could be out there to stop the run as well. I still believe that Justin Simmons will be signed in. Yeah, so Vince, we've covered this on this show multiple times. I think safety is a bigger need and priority than people realize. My question is why? We went through the same Justin Simmons song and dance last offseason. Even after we brought in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Justin Simmons' name was still tossed around. And then it was late that he signed with the Falcons. And here we are this offseason doing the same thing again. Still hasn't been signed. He's even talking about wanting to be here. So I put it out on Twitter. I don't even know what the voting is. I know it was favored on one versus the other. What would you rather to fix the safety situation? Trade up and draft Malachi Starks, arguably the best safety that you could get in this draft, or sign Justin Simmons and get, say, Jalen Reed with your third-round pick. I believe it was about 60-40 in favor of moving up and drafting Malachi Starks with that pick. And that's what I would do, personally. But I also wouldn't be against or afraid or disappointed if they go get Simmons. I think just Simmons with Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship, that's still a little weak in my opinion. I think if you're signing Justin Simmons, you're doing it because you're also drafting another safety that he can help groom into the Vic Fangio system. I don't think Sidney Brown's the safety of the future on this team. Ringo's hips need some serious work. He gets turned around way too easily. Elite special teamer, but Parker has been trying to fix this all year now. Yeah. We're going in. I think people don't understand how solid Darius Slay played last year opposite of Quinion Mitchell. I think he went very quietly under the radar for how good of a season he actually had. And you're moving on from him to Keely Ringo. Now, you got to hope he's gotten better. You've got to hope that Coach Parker and Darius Slay's training got him ready for this moment. But I would be shocked if the Eagles don't address cornerback in this draft, somewhere in that third, fourth round. They have a need. Ringo hasn't been it yet. They lost Rodgers. Eli Ricks barely dresses on game days. He's normally an inactive. So the Eagles significantly have an issue or a question mark with that second cornerback position. Absolutely do. Now, I think it's a bigger issue. If you had to tell me between Ringo and Sidney Brown, the current projected starters as of today, April 21st, safety's a bigger concern to me than cornerback. But I think there's enough pedigree there with Ringo versus Sidney Brown at this point. Ringo be fine. He really needs more playing time. Maybe. I think what's telling is how they, in game when Darius Slay would come out for a few plays because he would get dinged up, Isaiah Rodgers would come in those split moments. The game that Darius Slay had to sit, Ringo was the starter. So I think that tells me they have confidence when they could have prepared him for the entire week. They just didn't have him in a spot situation confidence last year. Ringo does become a pretty elite weapon if that gets addressed. Yeah, I think Ringo, you want to address depth behind Ringo in case he's not. You need to address depth because we pretty much are more likely sure that Sidney Brown is not it. Ricks has been a disappointment. I was hoping he would be a good bench. Wasn't Eli Ricks drafted higher than Keely? No, Keely Ringo was drafted. Eli Ricks was a undrafted free agent. I forget there was a lot of hype, I remember, when we brought Ricks in over Ringo. I just remember people being very high on Ricks over Ringo. Let's hope that if they sign Simmons and draft someone, they give the young guy a chance. Don't need another Blaine Bishop and Michael Lewis situation. Yeah. Drafting somebody and having them play behind Simmons for a year to really learn would be good. But also that just tells you what they think of Sidney Brown at this point. I feel bad for Sidney Brown at this point. I mean, he was a young, energetic, exciting young player out of the draft. Sat his rookie year for the most part. Played special teams. Had some moments here and there. Then got hurt at the end of the year. Missed all that time. really kind of didn't have a place this past year on the team other than special teams again. I don't even know. I give Sidney Brown a lot of flack. I just don't know if I'm right or wrong on that. So I have a good authority from a reporter with the name of a defunct cable TV channel that the Flyers are bringing Coach Bombay for interviews. Gordon Bombay? Is that it? Is it? Hey, Peter Laviolette got fired. We could trade Laviolette for Torts. Get some jam back in the locker room, right? Wasn't that what he said on that show? We need some jam. Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame is a guy that could possibly draft round 3 if he slips a bit. Yeah, I don't think Xavier Watts drops that far. I've been running a lot of mocks. I don't post them all. I just post 1 or 2. But my guess is Watts will go somewhere between 38 and 45. Mark that down. We'll see if I'm right on that. Jalen Reed, who's projected to be like the 120th prospect, seems to be up to like about pick 100 in most drafts. And there's a scenario even where Watts jumps up into the first round, honestly. There really is. The thing with safety is there's so few safeties that are ready to play football soon that there's going to be some overvaluing of some safeties potentially. It doesn't drop past 25. Oh, 35. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see 35, 40, but that's about it. Yeah. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. The most honest Philly sports host. Look, I'm not afraid. That's why I get, 9, 10 likes on a video and not 900 to 9,000 likes on a video. That's why I'm on YouTube here, not on the radio. So I'm not afraid to be honest. I'm not afraid to admit I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to be passionate about something like Rick. Me and Rick, we battled nose to nose on the Phillies. I'm not afraid to be any of those things. I'm not. You know why? Because that's all it is. Why be dishonest? If John Marks honestly criticized or commented, like someone said earlier, Vince said, that he had to be the opposite of Ike for radio content. You don't have to be that way. I think if these channels took a step back, take 2 steps forward, and brought in more honesty and more engagement versus fishing, ultimately, sports talk radio would be better and have a revival. Fans desire honest, passion debate. I think there's room for that to be the plan and the way things happen. I always thought Ringo could be a safety in this league. I've heard a lot of people have said that in the past. I thought it was about Ricks, but maybe it was Ringo. Kendrick Jackson could be a small school stud that's available in round 5 that could quietly be a great addition to the safety room. I knew who you meant. Yeah, I think if they're going to sign Justin Simmons, then they will draft a safety anywhere from 3 to 5. Probably more like 4 and 5. Maybe they take some of those fifths and move up higher in the 4th round or something like that. They're not taking 4 picks in the 5th round. But if they're not bringing in, I hate it when I hear my dogs fight upstairs. Those dogs drive me crazy. If they're not bringing in Justin Simmons, then they definitely have to address the safety position a little sooner in the 1st, 2nd round. They do. I know everybody wants defensive tackle, defensive end, offensive tackle, guard. Everybody wants that. But safety's an issue. Safety's a question. Who? Who's that? Fontia? I don't even know who that is. You would actually have to put real work into the true engagement of fans. Instead, they go the easy route. Well, that's the thing. That's why I say take a step back. Yeah, you might take a little dig in the ratings for 6 months, a year. But if you have a blueprint and a plan, real true engagement, there's an audience for it. That's why all these other big networks on YouTube, when they get founded, they claim they're going to be that alternative. Then they all just fall into the trap of WIP and the fanny packs. What does it? What? What? Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Oh, that's back. That's back. I forgot. How many away from 6,969 subscribers? That's how many away, right? But guys, please like, share, subscribe to this video, please. The last I looked, we haven't gained any more. We're still stuck at 500. Last I looked, we only had 9 likes on this video. There should be at least a dozen, if not 15. So like, share, subscribe. We're continuing talking this safety situation and the A.J. Brown nonsense. And all those people watching on Twitter right now, please head on over to the YouTube page. Ow! Well, that's interesting. So we can talk Phillies as well. Because the Phillies obviously had a big weekend. Took 2 out of 3 against the Marlins. Their offense woke up. I think they're solidifying slowly. Bryson Stott, the leadoff hitter. Johan Rojas looked good starting every day in a row, getting into a little bit of a rhythm. But then once the bats heat up, you are reminded on how bad the bullpen is. Almost blowing an 11-4 run lead in the 9th inning on Saturday, and then blowing a 4-5-1 lead on Sunday. And I don't think you can wait, Dave Dombrowski, till July to make an adjustment to your bullpen. You want to wait on center field? Okay. You want to wait on third base? Fine. You cannot wait with the bullpen. The bullpen needs addressed now. Because the few good arms you've got, you're going to burn them out. Devonta was a soda German. I had no clue. Interesting. Learn something new every day. What would Mitch do if you reached 6,900 through, I don't know. Mitchie Poo would be, I don't even want to comment on that. A.J. Brown ain't going nowhere. If the Eagles traded Brown, it would equal almost not. No one that has any clue actually believes this, Rick. The problem is there are far too many casuals. And that is why they do it. Like I said, Rick, I don't know if you're on Twitter, Rick, but I put out a tweet saying that the Eagles were trading Jalen Hurts and Jalen Carter for the number 4 pick. And 99% of the people didn't believe or knew I was joking. But there were a few people that were like, really? Seriously? The bullpen will be our downfall. They start hitting starters. Now can't hit the... Yeah, exactly. Look, our bullpen, we knew. I said it in February. I said it in January. Our bullpen was going to be an issue. Now, I know Jeff Hoffman had arm concerns, and that's why teams passed on him. But look how he's pitching now. Estevez, same thing. This bullpen is a problem, majorly. And it's already becoming our downfall at this point. How many people asked you about me? Yeah, I got messages from people asking me when Joe Hendry came out if Mitchie Poo was excited or not. I'm like, I don't have Mitchie Poo on speed dial. Bullpen definitely needs help. See, the thing is, Rick, we might disagree on something with the Phillies. But can we at least agree on the fact that Dave Dombrowski deserves some criticism for his last couple off seasons? Especially this one, for literally letting this bullpen just get patched. Like, what was his plan with this bullpen? What was it? Yeah, he would be happy until you got to, exactly. And then 9,696, right? Kobe Bryant, cornerback out of Kansas, a ball hawk. Could be a nice addition to the cornerback room. Also, Kimbler, Penn State cornerback. There's a lot of Penn Staters that are being mocked to the Eagles on a fairly regular basis right now. A lot of Penn State defensive players out there that they brought in the linebacker guy too, Kobe King, Jalen Reed, Jalen Kimber. There's quite a few. Everybody would love Tyler Warren. That's obviously not happening. Look, Dave Dombrowski and Howie Roseman. There's a perfect little parallel again. Howie Roseman isn't trading A.J. Brown. But Howie Roseman would not be afraid to if it meant getting a team over the hump. The Phillies need to be taken over the hump. Dave Dombrowski's afraid to make the moves necessary to get this team over the hump, whatever moves they may be. I'm not sold on Romano being cooked just yet. It almost looked like Cobham went out and just told him to work on velocity. The fastball all of a sudden had no movement, like he added two seams to it. Yeah, I mean, I saw a couple of people say his velocity was actually up. The Saturday afternoon, I was not watching his portion of the game when he blew it. I actually saw 11-4, thought the game was over, turned it off. So I didn't actually watch what he looked like, Nooms. But, again, what was the plan here? Did we really think Romano was going to be a closer? Dombrowski needs a ton of criticism. He single-handedly dismantled one of the best bullpens in MLB last year and didn't replace them with good arms. He needs to be called out big time. And while I believe Rob Thompson needs called out, I think the bigger question right now is why does Dave Dombrowski get such a pass? Because he's the one that employs Rob Thompson. He's the one that built the bullpen. He's the one that thought Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas platooning in center field was okay. Brandon Marsh on the injured list now with a hamstring issue. He missed the game because of a knee issue, but was put on the injured list with a hamstring issue. That was kind of odd wording of that. But Johan Rojas did look good playing every day, and people talked about how he said, or a coach said, that if he gets everyday reps, he's more comfortable that way, which is kind of silly because wouldn't everybody be more comfortable getting everyday reps? I don't know. But anyway, they took 2 out of 3, the Phillies, against the Marlins. But I feel worse than some of these other series because of how the bullpen looked this weekend. And now they got 3 against the Mets starting tonight with Aaron Nola going, who Aaron Nola's looked horrendous this year, despite me standing up for Aaron Nola, despite John Marks calling me out and bookmarking my tweets so he can remind me that I'm wrong on Aaron Nola. Whatever. Live rent-free in John Marks' head. That's fine. There's a lot of pressure on Aaron Nola to go out there tonight and pitch well. A lot of pressure. Because now the bullpen's spent. Now there's that doubt in the bullpen. Aaron Nola can't go 5 2/3 or 6 innings tonight. He needs to go 7 strong. The bats need to hit for him as well. Bullpen depth can't wait till the trade deadline. The bullpen needs help now. Is Robertson still there? He was a free agent like 2 weeks ago. J.D. Vance, what? We're not talking J.D. Vance. Yes, we hit 500 yesterday. Application process for monetization has begun. But it doesn't mean it stops at 500 K1. That means I still need likes. I still need shares. I still need more subscribers. So, guys, hit those buttons. It's free to do. It doesn't cost you a thing. How about JT K1? Winning the RBC, getting on the Schneid, getting off the Schneid. 500, let's go. Let's go. Means we're doing a live draft show this week. Thursday night. About 7:30, 7:45, I'll go live. First round of the draft begins at 8. We're going to go live for the entire night on Thursday, for the entire first round. Give the man his money. Yes, we said that at the beginning. And if anybody's interested on how the next pope is picked and want to learn about it in an entertaining setting, watch Conclave. Hey, you're the first person to notice. Yes, I trimmed up the hair, clipped up the beard a little bit. Thank you for noticing. Okay? Thank you. I know. Check. All he does is check. Pay that man his money. He won. Fair and square. Rounders is just the greatest. I hate watching it because it makes me want to get into a poker room again. But I don't want to get back in a poker room. But Rounders is great. It is. This is time of year. NFL draft. He can't wait for Thursday night. This is the kind of time of year where people like Deebs, Dives, Dibs go crazy. All the months and months of draft prospect videos and research all culminate with the draft this week. And I love it. I think it's hilarious. Really hilarious. Because I don't know. Dubes, is that another one? Okay, we go Dubes too. Oh, I'm sure you've got 500 videos already prepared for next year's prospects. I'm going to watch Draft Day and The Replacements. The Replacements. Just the greatest football movie ever made because there was a lot of heart in that movie, okay? What's the likelihood the Eagles add a wide receiver somewhere in the top 3 rounds? No, I don't see that. Do I think wide receiver is a need? Maybe, but it's not. It's a need in the sense where Dotson is at the last year of his rookie deal. And if you are not confident in Smitty and Wilson, not Smitty, Smith, Aeneas Smith and Johnny Wilson, then yeah, there's some depth issues there. But any depth concerns at wide receiver are undrafted free agents. Rick, that's my opinion. We'll have to replace Dotson at some point. I floated the idea of trading Dotson, honestly, because Dotson is a guy that could be a number 2 wide receiver on a good football team. And he's on a 1-year cheap deal. So I floated the idea of trading Dotson. They're not going to do it. And if they did trade Dotson, then yes, there would be a need there at wide receiver. But you got Dotson, you got Smith, you got Wilson. Your 3, 4, 5 at wide receiver are set right now. You would like more Phil Malkovich impressions? Yes. No, not today. Huge fan of Texas Home. We should get a trend in the AM. Yeah. I'm a retired poker player. Retired. Because I just beat everybody, Rick. I have never been so disinterested in a draft. I think it's because my team is the best in the Eagles. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Wide receiver will probably be next offseason. Yeah. When you leave Dotson next offseason, it will be. Yeah. 96 more. Yeah, exactly. Which means we haven't gained any more today, Mitch. So people, watch, like, share, subscribe. Let's go. Johnny Wilson, tight end 1. He's a small tight end, a big wide receiver, pump man. Basically, right? Is that basically what he is? Look, would it shock me if Howie Roseman drafted a wide receiver before round 5? No, because he, loves drafting wide receivers. But yeah, and you've never played a poker table with me. Look, I would not be that good right now. I'm off. I haven't played for a long time, but I've played with the pros before. I've beaten the pros before. Just so you know. But yeah, Johnny Wilson is the truth. So I'm debating whether to play into this like it's serious or not. I just don't know. Phil will go all in holding a pair of trays. If that's what needs to happen, I will. Aeneas Smith still okay. The team horrible. Yeah. Look, wide receiver is not a concern for 2026. Well, 2025, unless Howie Roseman trades AJ Brown. That's the only reason where it becomes a concern. But he's not trading AJ Brown, so it's not a concern. But Howie Roseman loves wide receivers. Howie Roseman always drafts wide receivers. It's funny. This year, or this week marks the 5-year anniversary of the first podcast I ever recorded. First podcast. It was April 25th, I believe, the night after the 2020 draft ended. And it was when myself and Johnny Uleka started All About the Birds. Yes, I'm a founder of that great Eagles channel. And we recorded our draft recap. It was so awful. I listened to some of it Saturday. Terrible audio. But I was right on Jalen Reagor, by the way. I was right on Jalen Hurts in that video. And well, it wasn't a video, it was just audio. I'll try to find it again and share it out for you guys to hear. It was so bad. I was so bad at it. I was also very hyped about the draft pick of Davian Taylor. Boy, was I wrong. I was right on the first 2, wrong on that one. I was very, very pissed off. Not that we didn't draft Justin Jefferson. Well, I commented where we should have, but I really wanted them to trade up for CeeDee Lamb in that draft. But anyway, I digress. Howie's been drafting wide receivers for a long time early. Johnny Wilson might have a hands of stone. Yeah. He needs that stick-em stuff where it looks like an elephant, talking about the replacements. Day 3 wide receiver like Felton, Thompson, or Jack Beck, all solid targets. Yeah, because we are going to need one in 26, 27, somewhere around there. Yeah, I can't believe my first podcast was five years ago. Like, I can't believe it. And listening to myself then and listening to myself back now, not much has changed. I'm still an arrogant, confident prick, basically. But I'm also the very same type of person. It's just crazy how time flies. Crazy. Johnny Wilson was a rookie. Like, give the guy a little grace. He's an incredible blocker and he had speed. I'm not off on Johnny Wilson. Felton is the guy I just brought up. He could be a nice addition. Well, one's saying round 5, one's saying round 3, 4. If they're going to add a tight end, or a wide receiver, it's going to be in round 5. With one of those picks in round 5. Guys, almost top there. Like, share, subscribe, please, guys. You were wrong about Tobias. What was I wrong about? I love Tobias Harris. He put up 22 first-half points for the Pistons in game 1, and then went on to only score like 4 more points the rest of the game, and they got blown out. But Wilson would end up being J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I mean, you could be much worse than that, right? A few years. I'm going to go for the entire first round, Memphis. Entire first round. Mr. Michigan State, Mr. Detroit Lions, Mr. Fairway to Heaven co-host, Jason Sullivan will be with me for a good portion of it as well. So maybe I'll find some more people. Nia Smith will end up being a nothing burger of a wide receiver, maybe. Except I haven't seen Johnny Wilson's mom on a practice field with an umbrella too. Yeah. I tell you what, Aeneas is Rager and JW is similar to J. Yeah. Look, it don't matter what they are as long as we have A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Jahan Dotson, honestly, because if one gets hurt, you still got Dotson as well. I am more confident in Sidney Brown than Aeneas Smith or Johnny Wilson. I hate it. That's an interesting one because before you joined the conversation, we spent a lot of time talking safety. And am I more confident in those two wide receivers or Sidney Brown? If pressed, I think I agree with you, Dives, because I think safety is the most underrated need this team has. But I'd still rather Sidney Brown out there in a big spot than either of those two wide receivers. That's crazy. I don't think Sidney Brown's a starter in the NFL. At least they drafted in the right rounds this time. Give it time. Just give it time, yeah. Brahma's huge upset. Let's not bring any UFL into the chat. That kills the algorithm. Dives, why do you hate Sidney? Well, hate's a strong word. We just don't think Sidney Brown is a starting caliber quarterback or safety right now. I wonder if Chase will be available when AJ's contract's done. Thoughts? Chase who? Jamar Chase? What do you mean there? AJ Brown, I'm hoping, will be with the Philadelphia Eagles for a very long time, by the way. Sidney Brown was a beast. I'm not giving up on him, pump man. I think it's different than what we're saying. Like, we're not ready to commit and turn the starting reins over to Sidney Brown right now. He was a beast on special teams his rookie year. But he wasn't a beast when he had to step on the field to play safety. Sidney Brown has one big issue, in my opinion. He does not know how to throttle down. He only knows how to go to 100 miles an hour. He doesn't know how to go 100, shift down and drop it down when the speed limit drops once you get into town. And that's a problem. Yeah, Pump Man being positive, man. Hey, it's April. It's post-Easter, which means new life, springtime. New beginnings, Mitchie Poo. Lots of Eagles think y'all need a safety. I think we need a safety. Jamar Chase, if his contract ends when AJ's contract ends, there could be a deal where we continue the wide receiver greatness. Well, I guess in theory. We'll see. That is so far down the line, Duck, that I'm not even worried about that. AJ Brown ain't going anywhere. Sidney Brown didn't even play safety as a rookie. They used him in the slot. Oh. Well, when I saw him on the field, he didn't look good in that position. He's a great special teamer. Great special teamer. Too reckless for me. Yeah, exactly. He hasn't shown that he can't be. Less reckless yet. Sorry. Okay. Sidney Brown needs more work and training up. He does. That's why Justin Simmons and another young drafted rookie are where the way I'd go, or I'd go get Starks. However, I tend to overvalue the safety position. I think it's a huge. I think safety, quite frankly, might be the biggest need on this defense. If you're just looking at winning the 2025 Super Bowl, safety's the biggest need. Now, if you're thinking big picture over the next 2 to 3 years, yeah, defensive tackle, offensive tackle, or guard might be the biggest need. But if we're talking about just this next season, the biggest hole on this Eagles team is safety. We'll write this something down here. Got to take a note. Got to take a note here. Got to take a note there. Maybe we draft Starks at safety and continue the bull. I mean, yeah, just keep adding more Bulldogs, right? Why not? Please review WrestleMania. C+. Some very good matches. I predicted a lot right, but it was not WrestleMania to me. The Eagles organization called Sidney Brown a Red Star draft pick. That kid will prove you all wrong. I hope I don't think. I think you're overvaluing our criticism. I don't think we're calling him a bust or a bomb. We're just saying we don't think he's ready to start. Because right now, Pump Man, he is slotted. If today was game one, he'd be your starting safety. We're just not sure he's ready for that yet. It's not that we're writing him off completely. Safety right now is the greatest need, but how he's not drafted that? Most likely not. You believe in Phil Hendry. I still pop big. When I saw him, I really expected The Miz to be the guy to come out there to keep his string of WrestleMania appearances, intact. And when it was Joe Hendry, I'm like, ah! And I knew at some point he'd get RKO doing the pose. Whatever. I agree. Believe me, I'd love to be wrong about Sidney Brown. I need more of a coverage guy in that rotation. I'd much rather go with Watts or Starks or more. Look. Sidney Brown could be the guy. He might be the guy. I haven't seen enough to be confident in that. That's plain and simple. Please, we're just ignoring everybody's comments now. Is an amazing athlete, but not a great scheme fit because he's like Reed and Sidney, who thrives in the box. I also think when we're talking safety, we have to take into account Reed Blankenship. Who is Reed Blankenship? What is he? I stand by it that Reed Blankenship is still just an okay safety. He's not great. He's not bad. He's good on an average team. He's average on a good team. I think Reed Blankenship, when you have elite cornerback play, looks better. I think out of the last 3 years, Reed Blankenship looked better when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was opposite of him. And when he wasn't opposite of him, he struggled a little bit more. I think the safety issue and my concerns with safety and Sidney Brown have just as much to do with my overall confidence or lack thereof of what Reed Blankenship is. Reed Blankenship also is on the last year of his rookie contract. He hasn't gotten an extension yet. Will he? Maybe. How much? How long? I don't know. But I think Reed Blankenship also plays into this conversation with the depth and need at safety. A lot of people did. Every one of the core 12 thought of you. Starks is so overrated, he's too slow. He might be overrated. In a weak draft where guys are going to get reached for, he might be overrated, Pump Man. But he also might be one of the best safeties in this class. So if you need safety, sometimes you got to reach. Eagles have to add to the secondary middle linebacker receiver group. Receiver group we got from Jonathan. What's up, Jonathan? Safety positions are the biggest needs and how he spoke about evolving. So perhaps a safety in the first pick. How he has evolved a lot over the last few years. He's changed a lot. So maybe he does. I hope he does. Kevin Winston and would be perfect fits. Maybe. We'll see. Blankenship doesn't have the physical talent to play the way he plays. Like, yeah, absolutely. Look, I think Reed Blankenship gets overrated a little bit. He's not a bad safety, but he's not a great safety either. He needs to be in a perfect situation with talent around him for him to succeed, in my opinion. How are you going to draft in the trenches early, as he should? And that is what he does best. And that is what he prioritizes best, Rick. And I don't doubt that. Guys, please, like. We're at the top of the hour here. Like, share, subscribe. We started with 500 subscribers. Let's make sure we get some more today. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by kickoff of the NFL season. Can we get there? Please, it happens by you guys hitting like, share, and subscribe. You no longer have to hear me talking about 500. Now we're talking about 1,000. Best safety in the class is really Kevin Winston. He was just hurt last year. Let me do something here. Let's see. Winston from Penn State, projected 6'1", 215. Yeah. You could get him maybe in the second round then, maybe third. Blankenship is underrated. I disagree. I think there's too much hype on him. I think he's an average safety. Love that take, Pumpman. See, Pumpman knows what he's talking about sometimes. So what do you do with Winston? I just pulled him up on PFF, and he's ranked the 75th best prospect, which would be middle of the third round. Maybe they trade up or get him with something. They trade out of the first round, one of the extra picks they use for him. Be interesting. I'm curious. I think maybe Winston would be a scenario if they trade out of the first round and they pick up a bunch of second and third round picks. That's how you get Winston, maybe. I don't know the difference, honestly. Would anybody in Philly care as much about Starks? So to me, if he was ranked where he's ranked on most big boards, to me, I would still like him. It has nothing to do with the G on the helmet to me. It has it has that safety is our biggest need, our biggest concern right now. Right now in Philadelphia sports, our biggest concerns are safety, the Phillies bullpen, and Daryl Morey being fired. That's a power ranking right there. Power ranking. Biggest Philly concerns. Bullpen, safety, Daryl Morey. That's my top three in no particular order. Blankenship is Vic's bootleg Justin Simmons. That's why signing him doesn't make sense. Yeah, look, I don't buy into this whole Justin Simmons thing all the time. Pump man. I've said it before. We went through the same Justin Simmons song and dance last offseason. And it just kept being mentioned, and never happening. Maybe Justin Simmons, I know Justin Simmons says he wants to play here. Maybe Vic Fangio doesn't want Justin Simmons. Or he'd be here already. Starks 23 was outstanding. He was one of the best DBs in the draft. Starks 24 tape wasn't as good, but he was also hurt. Okay. Winston, a day two guy. Starks is day one. Makes sense. Why would I prefer? Look, I would love to see one of their first two picks go to safety. We'll just leave it at that. Except that Morey ain't going nowhere. Third concern should be the Flyers' next coach. It'll make the top 10. Flyers' next head coach. We're going to do a top 10 power ranking after the show on Twitter today. Alabama safety Malachi Moore is a versatile safety that can play multiple roles in the defensive backfield. Will probably be available in round 4 or 5. Don't know much about him other than what people have said. Look, safety is a need. Safety is a need. Also, Phil, I'm all the way in on trading Tyrese Maxey this offseason. Were you the one that put out the poll about that, Dives? Someone put out a poll. Look, I have not shied away from, I'm stripping this Sixers team down. Firing Morey, firing Nurse, finding any way to get off of Joel Embiid, getting rid of Paul George, stripping it down. And yes, that might include trading Maxey. Trade him at his peak. The only guy that's actually got trade value that would return multiple first-round picks on this Philadelphia 76ers team is Maxey. I don't want to trade him. They won't trade him, but it would make great business sense, big picture sense. I understand you may play faster than 4.5 40, but well, first off, I can't stand the combine 40-yard dashes. I don't think so. I don't value that like other people do. Starks is solid and smart, decent deep coverage, a little slow for man holdoffs, and hits hard like a truck. Mitchie Poo, you never miss a moment, do you? I like Malachi Moore, but the guy is 20. Oh, was that? I did hear about a guy, a defensive back that was like 25 or 26 or something like that. He better be ready to start day one at that age. Yeah. Maxie McCain of the future 70. Got to keep them both here long term. You got to, but honestly, Rick, when's the next time the Sixers are going to be good? How long? They're running it back next year, right? So next year they're going to stink again. So then 2026 they start the rebuild, and it takes 5 years. So you're looking at Maxey, who's 23 right now, being 29, 30 the next time the Sixers are relevant and good again. Just get max value for him right now. Just get max value for him. I don't like it at all, Rick. I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying there's a if WIP wants to have a hot take topic, the hot take topic wouldn't be trading AJ Brown for pick 4. It would be trading Tyrese Maxey for 4 first-round draft picks. That would be the hot take. If I was on WIP, I'd be running with. Starks had the worst agility numbers by a safety in years. Can't explain that. Moore's a great scheme fit. Does a lot of things CJ did, but the dude is old and can't stay healthy. Yeah. Don't need old and unhealthy guys. Howie, don't draft guys that old anymore. Yeah, Danny Watkins. Oh, man, Danny Watkins. Why would anybody mention Danny Watkins and want to depress me? Why? Why did you do that? 76ers could turn it around quicker than we think if we could somehow find a way to move Embiid. I'll be shocked if there aren't Joel Embiid rumors this offseason that he wants out. Once the season ends, there are going to be rumors. There are. I think there's going to be quite a few rumors. But you kind of got to move off of Embiid and Paul George. I don't think Paul George fits either. But if you can find a way to move off of both of them and keep a top 5 pick, Rick, sure. Get an athletic, lengthy wing that can run and play D early in the first round there. You're on to something with a 6'9", 6'10" athletic wing. Maxey McCain, sure. I don't hate the idea of trading for Kevin Durant because he's got 1 year left on his deal, and then you can flip him at the deadline. I'm not crazy about it, but I don't hate it. You can fix the Sixers if you get creative. But if you can't, Maxey might be your value. Revel, Deli Alexander, McMore are not on the board due to age. Yeah, I think anybody 25 or above, you got to take them off your board with what the Eagles' plan is. Because the Eagles' free agency and plan is about the future. They've already got the team outside of safety to win another Super Bowl. So their goal this draft is for 26 and beyond. The Sixers team is at least 5 to 6 years away, and the sooner they can commit to a rebuild and focus on that. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Oh, my God, Mitchie Poo. You almost got me to say it. The trade and B train has left the station. He's damaged goods and ridiculous. Oh, I agree. But they're going to try. They should try. They can try. KD. No. Brian, you got to hear it out. I didn't even know this. Someone brought this up last week. All right? It's Kevin Durant for Paul George. Paul George has 3 years left on his deal. Kevin Durant has 1 year left on his deal. Kevin Durant wants out of Phoenix. Paul George wants to be on the West Coast. The numbers match up. If you want to get off of Paul George, you got to bring something back. Paul George with Devin Booker over there might be something that intrigues Phoenix. Then at the trade deadline, you trade Kevin Durant again because then you could trade him to a contender that wants Kevin Durant for picks and expiring contracts. So I don't want Kevin Durant to build around. I don't want Kevin Durant on the Sixers. Kevin Durant might be a necessary evil to get off of Paul George's next 3 years. So you're trading 3 years of Paul George for 1 year of Kevin Durant, or even half a season of Kevin Durant. There's trading for Kevin Durant is not because I want to win a title with Kevin Durant or I think he's great anymore. There's a process to getting off of some of these bad contracts. And Kevin Durant might fix one of those issues. Need to hire someone to find Adam Silver in compromising positions. That is for sure. McCain is the next Steph Curry. If Morey is smart, he built. Well, I think you're pushing the envelope a little too much there. All right, let's let Jarrett McCain be Jarrett McCain. All right, he doesn't have to be the next Steph Curry. Okay. No. You got to think of the theory of why I'm saying. I'm not saying Kevin Durant's the answer to the Sixers winning. Kevin Durant is the answer to getting off of a bad contract. Adam Silver doesn't look like he has many. Yeah. He looks like he'd be in Men in Black. Trading Paul George now is like trading Bryce Huff. Getting off the deal will hurt, but it'll pay dividends down. Exactly. I don't think Pump Man understands why the whole Dives. You might have even been the one that brought up the Kevin Durant thing on this show last week. I forget who is, but it makes sense in theory to get off of it. Yeah, I think he would be a guy if we rewatched the first Men in Black and Will Smith's looking at the screen with his teacher, the alien, et cetera, that you would see Adam Silver up on there. If people really think McCain is the next Steph Curry, then Michael Carter-Williams is asked. Look, McCain is not. I don't like comparing people like that. First off, okay, you should never put a 20-year-old player in any sport against one of the greatest players of all time at their sport. That's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. All right, especially one that only played 20 or 30 games in his career. McCain is more like Clay than Curry. He's just shorter. Look, I'm not putting any of that pressure on Jared McCain. I love the potential of McCain. I love Tyrese Maxey. I don't want to trade any of them guys. But I'm willing to take some painful decisions to start the rebuild process all over again. Look, you're talking about Jared McCain through 20, 30 games. You're putting way too much pressure on that kid by comparing him to Steph Curry. Will he be? Maybe. Maybe you'll rewrite. I'm not saying he can't be the next Steph Curry. I'm saying my expectations, those kind of expectations haven't been put on him yet, in my opinion. Has off-the-ball Steph tendencies and his change of direction. Yeah, look, I saw a lot of good from Jared McCain in a short period of time. I did. I'm not ready to put those kind of expectations on. Because if you're expecting him to be Steph Curry and he just turns into Klay Thompson, then that means he's a disappointment. Let's see what he's got for a full year. A full year of starting before we start talking about that kind of stuff. He might be proof of alien life forces in another city. You know, honestly, Big Al, there was a time and day where I would have said you're actually right on this. It's just, in theory, an idea to fix a problem. I'll trade Maxey for another top 5 pick, though. Imagine we had Harper and Ace Bailey. So, I mean, you got to get creative. I'm not trading just Maxey for a top 5 pick. I need more for Maxey if I'm trading him at this point. But, yeah, sure. And I don't know much about these guys, Harper and Bailey. I mean, I know them. I'm still at my pre-drafts. I'm not ready for the NBA draft yet. I mean, you might not be, but when you make a statement that he's going to be the next Steph Curry, that seems like you are putting that kind of pressure. Did Adam Silver have a life before becoming commissioner? Or he might have been. He might have been created in the Matrix. I don't know. I don't know. How do we get on the Sixers? I was not expecting this show to turn into a Sixers. I thought we were going to talk Phillies and Eagles. But that's the greatness of this show. We just never know where the conversation will go. With the right moves, the Sixers could be a playoff team next season. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. I mean, it's not crazy. They have talent. If Joel Embiid and Paul George played 82 games, well, even 70 games, sure, they're going to win more teams. But we're beyond playoffs. We've been down this road. The Sixers team needs to be more than just playoffs. So could we get another NFL draft Wednesday or Thursday in the AM? I'm sorry. Can we get another NFL draft mock draft? Yeah. There's no show here. We got some scheduling changes on this show this week. Tomorrow night, no Fairway to Heaven. The Zork Classic. We're going to take a bye week this week because the Zork Classic sucks. Thursday morning, there will be no trending in the AM. Got to have a tooth pulled Thursday morning. But Thursday night, we'll be doing a draft show. And I doubt we'll do a Friday morning show. I'll be up till 11, 12 o'clock at night on Thursday. No way I'm getting up at 6 a.m. to do the show on Friday morning. But maybe I'll do a weekend trending in the AM to make up for that. So the schedule is flexible this week. We're playing by ear. We'll try to do another mock draft, though, on Wednesday morning. If Maxie can get me a top 5 pick in future assets, you do it. And I love Maxie, but he just does. Yeah, absolutely agree. I agree. Adam Silver is a of course. Yeah, look. Adam Silver is an untrustworthy person. Considering a 10 seed makes the playoffs. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, it's not crazy to think that with a great offseason, the Sixers could be a playoff team. I mean, getting the 10 seed can't be that hard, right? Guys, we still have 500 subscribers. We got 17 people watching now. There's only 14 people who have liked this video. So you guys haven't all done your job. Please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. And if you haven't, please hit subscribe. We are at 500. I'm very happy about that. Another safety, Caleb Branshaw from Tulane is excellent tackler. Rookie free agent, undrafted free agent. Okay, we're already looking at undrafted free agents. How about that? We're already focused on the undrafted free agents at this point. Gotta love that. I gotta love that. I'm just shocked that we got onto an NBA talk, NBA conversation today. Any hockey team not making the playoffs for 5 years is pretty pathetic. Yeah. Well, is that how many years it's been for the Flyers, Nooms? You ready for Peter Laviolette coming back as the coach of the Flyers? I'm just kidding. If they bring back Lavi, I would be pretty pissed off. Ransom probably going to get drafted in rounds 3 or 4. You guys know way more about these draft prospects than me. Way, way more. Which is crazy because, again, like I said, celebrating my 5-year anniversary of my first podcast ever and listening to back and how I was able to talk about the draft so detailed 5 years ago because I paid so much attention to these college prospects in college football. Even 5 years ago, I knew so much about these guys. I did. And it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy how far off my college football knowledge has fallen over the last couple of years. That's 5 years of doing this, refocusing what my goals are. I've bounced around from place to place, but here we are now with the STT Sports Network, doing my own thing now. Again, very easy to do, guys. Very easy to do. So we got a jam-packed week. There'll be more draft talk tomorrow, more draft talk on Wednesday, live draft show on Thursday, more Phillies talk, obviously. I mean, Lavi should never have been fired in the first place, but I don't know, man. No, we do not need to continue. I agree with everything you say here. Shouldn't have been fired the first time, but we don't want to recycle either, for sure. In 5 more years, you will know nothing about sports at all. Yeah, I'm working backwards, right? Yeah. We just have our draft crushes. It's like gambling. That's true. It's true. Berube should have been higher at the end of last season. Flyers collapsed, but Briere didn't have the balls to fire Torts last year. Yeah, I thought he should have been fired last year too, Torts. But yeah. Rick bringing up David Silver made me think of the Peach Pit. Peach Pit. I don't know. Anyway, I still don't know how we got on the Sixers talk, but we are. I think it came up because biggest Philly. Biggest power ranking, the Phillies' biggest concern is what I think brought up the Sixers. Anyway, we're coming up to the final 5-10 minutes of the show, guys. Any final thoughts? Anything from the weekend? We do got the Phillies tonight going up against the Mets. Huge series for the Phillies against the Mets. I know the bullpen stinks. I know the offense has been getting hot, but you got Nola, Sanchez, and Wheeler going up against Mergel, Canning, and Peterson for the Mets. Mets are in first place. We're a game back. Phillies need to take 2 out of 3, but probably will lose 2 out of 3 if my confidence tells me anything. Explain, Nooms, for the peanut gallery. Phillies offense is going to have to carry them in this Mets series. Will it? I don't know. Jonathan, I agree. I mean, I agree. My confidence meter against bad teams is there. My confidence with the Phillies against good teams is not. Yes, the 90210. That's it. That's it. I don't have super high confidence in this Phillies team right now. I don't. The Mets are playing great baseball. I believe they've won 4 in a row entering this series. You got Aaron Nola, who has struggled mightily, which means he'll go out tonight and pitch like 7 shutout innings or something like that. I'll be pissed if he throws 7 shutout innings and then the bullpen blows it in the 8th or 9th. I have no idea what the Phillies even can do with the bullpen at this point. Yeah, I don't. I never really watched it, but I know it. How old are you, K1? How old are you that your girlfriend was watching that show? That you even had a girlfriend? I thought you were like 14, K1. Hell, I thought you were Kenny Gainwell for a second, which would mean you wouldn't even been old enough to be alive during it. I mean, I hope so, but that's just blind optimism. Going up against one of the hottest teams in baseball, one of the better teams in baseball. Our bullpen is in shambles, and tonight we've got a pitcher who I think is better than people give credit for, but has been bad this year. So tonight spells win all over it, right? We must come to terms. The Mets are just playing better baseball. Maybe Phillies find their ball. Maybe. And you know what? If the Phillies take 2 out of 3, I'll give them their flowers, without a doubt. How and why are the Mets doing so well? I don't know. The Mets piss me off. I haven't even looked at the stats for the Mets. I just looked at their record and their past 10 games. I haven't checked their stats or anything like that. But the Mets will Met at some point, just like the Phillies will Phils. I mean, this is obviously what's going to happen. And I'm going to, just like John Marks is calling me out for my Aaron Nola takes, I'll call him out for his Aaron Nola takes right after this happens as well. Phillies offense better put up 8 or 9, though, tonight, just in case that the bullpen has another shaky performance, Rick. Right now, the Phillies bullpen is my biggest concern. Rojas is seeming to find a groove. Stott's finding a groove in the leadoff spot, which he should have been at all along. We'll see. Nowhere to go. I mean, it could actually get worse, honestly. I got to really pay attention to him pitching tonight because someone brought up after his last game his velocity was down 2.5 miles an hour. I got to pay attention to see where his velocity is tonight. I agree with Rick. Nola is having a slow start and will get his speed back. MLB is a long rolling season. It is. We've got a lot of health with our top pitchers the last couple of years. I'm a little concerned that maybe Nola's a little hurt. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's not the case, but it does concern me a little bit. It does. The Mets will eventually implode. That's their modest uprun. That's there, but isn't that the Phillies as well? Isn't that the Phillies as well? Just saying. You can't say that about the Mets and not say that about the Phillies because they've imploded the last 2 years, just so you know. So it's you can't be uber positive about the Mets because you're not a Mets fan, but you can't be about the Phillies. I mean, the Mets and the Phillies have basically collapsed both of the last 2 years. Different times, different levels of collapse, but they both collapsed, just so you know. Anyway, guys, it's time for me to wrap this up. It's Monday. It's draft week. Lots happening. It's all about winning the World Series, plain and simple. If Nola's hurt, they should just shut him down for a little while. I don't know if he's hurt or not. I'm just saying a pitcher like Nola that has that much of a dip in velocity normally means there's something going on. It's either mechanics, dead arm, or an injury. We'll find out. I mean, Zach Wheeler had a little down velocity last year for a little stretch, and it just was dead arm. And they just, took care of him, maintained him, and he got it back. I don't know. I want to pay closer attention tonight. Got to pay closer attention to him tonight if I have a chance to focus. The hotter the weather, the hotter he gets. Maybe. Maybe you're right. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, guys, got to wrap this shebang up. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 8 a.m., with another episode, talking Phillies, talking Eagles and draft and whatnot. We'll see what kind of nonsense is spewed all over social media. Absolutely. Absolutely, recipe. I mean, we'll see what the next pope is. But again, I always preach about how much I love Conclave. If you want to watch a movie, Conclave now with the timing is a big deal for sure. I really wish it was hot in October. Yeah. Anyway, got to wrap it up, guys. Everybody have a great day. Everybody have a great Monday. Be well. We'll talk again tomorrow. Guys, like, share, subscribe, please. Go Birds. Bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep.